Before we get into today's show, let me tell you about HubSpot. If you're hustling in the trenches to build a business or bootstrapping one of your own, let's talk about an AI-powered tool that can lighten up your workload a bit. HubSpot's Campaign Assistant is a game changer for creating marketing campaigns at scale. It quickly turns your key selling points into a cohesive pitch, which helps you deliver knockout emails, ads, and landing pages in minutes. So let Campaign Assistant take care of the campaigns so you can get back to growing your business. Work smarter, not harder at HubSpot.com/campaign-assistant.
Howdy folks, hope you had an awesome 4th of July weekend. Joey Chestnut won the nationally televised Nathan's Hot Dog Eating Contest again Monday for the 15th time, inhaling 63 hot dogs and buns in 10 minutes, even while body slamming a protester mid-event. Pretty insane video, worth checking out, but let's get down to business. It's Tuesday, July 5th. I'm Jacob Cohen, and this is the Hustle Daily Show. Today we're going to be talking about the massive cult of teens known as Gentle Minions that went bananas over a hilarious meme and how it helped Minions Rise of Gru break box office records over the weekend and what it all means. But before we get to that, let's run through the latest news in business and tech. Let's get crack-a-lackin'. All right, first things first, Radio Shack is back in the spotlight. The 100-year-old electronics retailer saw its brand reintroduced as a cryptocurrency company with a potty-mouth Twitter account. It's generated a lot of buzz online the last week, which is obviously its goal. Not safe for work, but recommend you checking it out. And speaking of crypto and Twitter, the British Army's YouTube and Twitter accounts were hacked to promote crypto scams. Both accounts have been restored, but the culprits remain unknown. Moving along, over 23 million U.S. homes welcomed a pet during the pandemic, and now dog boarding companies like Camp Bow Wow are seeing summer bookings up 29% from 2019 levels. Pre-pandemic, the prices for boarding are reportedly up 10 to 15% in the same time. You know, the people wanted dogs, but now that they're leaving the house again, they need other people to take care of them, and that costs moolah. What is next? A new report found the 5 cities with the most significant rent decreases in June included Tallahassee, Florida, Anchorage, Alaska, and Honolulu, Hawaii, basically the 3 farthest ends of America. On the other end, Norfolk, Virginia, and Fresno, California saw the biggest increases in June. And lastly, a new report from Bloomberg speculates that the Apple Watch Series 8 will be able to detect fevers through a body temperature sensor. Very cool stuff. All right, and with that, let's talk about Minion Mania. Okay, so probably the biggest story, the biggest trend over the weekend in the online pop culture, Twitter, TikTok sphere was Minions Rise of Gru. Specifically, Minions Rise of Gru going absolutely bananas at the box office. And the story wasn't necessarily big because the movie itself did well, but rather because of what helped it do well. And that was a mass movement of teens around a meme, which it appears really helped propel the movie to unexpected heights. Going into the weekend, the film was projected to hit around $70 million at the box office. Now, the movie is the first animated film in nearly 3 years to post $100 million plus opening weekend and was expected to reach upwards of $125 million by the end of the weekend, breaking the July 4th opening weekend record set back in 2011 by Transformers: Dark of the Moon. So let's discuss this trend for a second, this cult, this meme. And what I'm about to say is the defining stat of this discussion that's going to frame it for us. So most people's first thought when they hear Minions is that's just a kid's movie. No one above the age of 12 is seeing that movie. But in this case, they're dead wrong. So according to PostTrack, if you look at the attendance for the last title in the Minions Despicable Me franchise, which was Despicable Me 3 in 2017, 8% of the movie's audience was between the ages of 13 and 17. For Minions Rise of Gru, the movie that came out this past weekend, 34% of the audience was between the ages of 13 and 17. So we went from 8% to 34%. And that is bananas. And why is that? Why did this happen? So, well, if you step foot on TikTok or Twitter this past week, especially TikTok, it is absolutely filled to the brim with videos of what is known as the Gentle Minions going to see Minions Rise of Gru in theater. So who are the Gentle Minions? Now, I'm going to try to explain this, but truly, You're going to need to watch videos of it to fully grasp what I'm describing here. But basically, there's this trend where teens around the globe, in the United States, in the UK, and elsewhere, are getting dressed up in suits and ties as if they were going to prom and going to see Minions Rise of Gru in theaters and basically show it ironic admiration. In other words, whether or not the film is good is not why they're going to see this movie. It's not why teens are not going to see this movie because it's necessarily a good movie. They're going to see it for the bit of seeing Minions Rise of Gru in suits and ties with their friends, filling up the movie theater. And they film themselves entering the theater and going up mall escalators in formal lines in their suits, buying tickets for dozens of people, applauding and screaming for the film when it appears on screen in unison. And there's an accompanying rap song that gets played in the background of all these videos. Some of the videos, I'll be honest, are truly hilarious. Like truly hilarious just because of how they stick to the bit. It's one of these things that's just really funny for no reason at all. However, there's always a yin to a yang, right? Some theaters are having mixed reactions. On the one hand, it's great to have kids pour into theaters after, the whole pandemic of not having any kids in theaters. But on the other hand, hordes of unaccompanied minors can be slightly disruptive, right? And all kinds of reports are coming out that theaters having to issue refunds for other moviegoers and families, theaters having to cancel future showings of the movie because of this, theaters calling the cops to shut down mosh pits, people throwing bananas at the screen. Some theaters have said it's actually had a negative financial impact on them because of all the refunds they've had to issue other people. And it's a real problem for some theaters, apparently. There are now videos of theaters refusing entry to anyone who shows up in a suit. So honestly, I think for the most part, the kids taking part in this trend are tame and respectful, and they're just having fun and getting a little excited. But clearly there are some naughty ones that are causing some trouble. Now, the marketers at Universal are embracing this, right? The Minions official TikTok account has endorsed the Gentle Minions movement. Officially, the account has attracted 1 million followers in just the last week. If I'm a marketer at Universal right now, this is truly an incredible moment. They have managed to attract a demographic that grew up with the Despicable Me and Minions franchises, seemingly outaged it, but have taken this nostalgia, this ironic sense of let's go see this as a bit, and made the movie really cool and just relevant for Gen Z. The one group of people I feel bad for is the underpaid movie theater employees, having to deal with groups of 50 teenagers in suits and ties watching Minions Rise of Gru. One takeaway here is that it's great for theaters at large. People are very willing to come back into theaters now. Clearly, we just had Top Gun Maverick still crushing it at theaters weeks and weeks after initial release. And now Minions, totally different target demographics. Big win for theaters and studios all around. Another takeaway, man, oh man, can TikTok be a powerful marketing tool for movies going forward in expected and unexpected ways too, right? The only thing is hopefully studios don't try to overdo this and manufacture trends, because part of what's nice about this trend specifically is the authenticity, right? It started with the teens, not the studio. And to what extent the Gentle Minions' impact on the film is anecdotal or actually meaningful is not entirely clear, but it definitely appears, based on those audience metrics I spoke about earlier, it seems quite substantial. So now, if you happen to go to the theater this week and see a bunch of kids in suits and ties, you know what's going on. You're not going to be left wondering. How great is that? You're welcome. Bada bing, bada boom. That's going to do it for us today, folks. Thank you so much for tuning in to the Hustle Daily Show. We're a proud part of the HubSpot Podcast Network. Our editor today is Ezra Trupiano. Our executive producer is Darren Clark. If you liked what you heard today, we've got a lot more tech and business coverage in our newsletter, which you can sign up for at thehustle.co. Have a lovely Tuesday. Short week this week. Let's get it. And we'll see you tomorrow.
Hey guys, if you listen to the Hustle Daily Show on Google Podcasts, we want to let you know that the option will no longer be available pretty soon. Google is sunsetting its podcast app sometime in early 2024 in favor of YouTube Music, and we want to give you a heads up before it's too late, since that time's almost here. The Hustle Daily Show is available everywhere and anywhere that you listen to podcasts, like Apple Podcasts and Spotify. If you're using YouTube Music, we are there as well. If you're an Android fan, there are plenty of apps like Overcast, Pocket Casts, Player FM, and more. So just search for us wherever you decide to listen to your favorite podcasts.